You've probably seen those incredible videos, right? Martial arts masters breaking bricks on their bodies, taking hits that would shatter bone, and you just have to wonder, how on earth is that possible? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dive right into the original training manual for one of the most legendary skills out there, the Shaolin Iron Shirt.
I mean, just look at this. This illustration comes straight from the old training texts. That's a man's body being struck by an actual iron hammer. And no, this isn't some kind of magic trick or illusion. This is the goal. This is the final result of a grueling, years-long process. So the real question is, how do you get from A to B? How can flesh and bone possibly learn to withstand that kind of force?
So this skill actually has a formal name, Bu Shan. It roughly translates to iron cloth shirt skill. It's one of the famous 72 Arts of Shaolin, and what's so wild is that while it sounds like something straight out of a kung fu movie, it's a real, meticulously documented training system with very specific, progressive steps.
And this, right here, this is the core promise of the whole thing, taken word for word from the manual's opening. Let's be clear, it's not about becoming magically invincible. It's about conditioning your body to such an extreme level that you can withstand attacks that would absolutely cripple any normal person.
So where does a journey like this even start? You'd probably imagine it begins with hitting things, right? Punching bags, wooden posts, but nope, you'd be wrong. The first phase, the entire first 100 days, involves zero impact at all. It's all about building this ridiculously strong, unshakable foundation of strength and discipline.
The manual is super specific about the first steps. First, you tightly bind your abdomen. This is absolutely key for engaging your core and, more importantly, for focusing your internal energy, or what they call qi. From there, it's all about the ma bu, the classic horse stance, while you perform these very specific arm movements to build insane leg strength and upper body stability.
And these illustrations show it perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the basic horse stance. The practitioner sinks down low, just holding it, building that raw endurance. Then on the right, they're holding that same punishing stance while doing arm extensions. The idea is to be able to hold these poses for crazy long periods of time, building a foundation of just sheer grit and physical power.
Okay, so after you've mastered the stances and the breathing, only then does the training introduce external tools. This is where the actual hardening of the body begins. And believe me, it is a slow, methodical, and often pretty painful process.
You start by using a wooden pestle to gently, methodically strike your entire body. And the manual is really honest about this. At first, it hurts. A lot. But with daily practice, the pain starts to fade as the nerves, the muscles, and even the bones begin to adapt. Once you reach that point, the training moves on to a sandpit. So this sandpit training, how long do you think that takes? A few months? Maybe a year? The manual states that the practitioner conditions their body in this sandpit for 5 years. Just let that sink in for a second. 5 entire years dedicated to just this one phase of the training.
And you can see exactly what that looks like here. The practitioner is literally lying in a pit of fine sand, using bags of sand to strike and condition every single part of their torso. The chest, the stomach, the back, the sides. Sand is perfect for this because it gives you this unique mix of heavy resistance, but also a little bit of give, so you can do that deep conditioning without causing a serious injury. All right, after half a decade in a sand pit, you'd think you'd be getting close, right? Well, this is where the training goes to a whole other level. Things escalate, and they escalate dramatically. We're moving on from conditioning with wood and sand to hardening the body against solid metal. And this really says it all. The training makes this huge jump. Your body has already spent years getting used to being hit with wood. Now, that tool gets swapped out for an iron hammer. It's just a staggering leap in intensity, and it requires more than just physical toughness. It requires something else entirely. And this is the absolute key. The manual explains that as that iron hammer makes contact, the practitioner has to use their qi, their internal vital energy, to back up all that physical conditioning. They have to focus their mind, their breath, their energy right to the point of impact. It's that unification of mind and body that makes this even remotely possible.
So what's the end game here? According to the texts, once you've truly mastered this, your body becomes firm as a rock. And that leads to the ultimate test of the skill, the absolute peak of all those years of training, the ability to actually withstand the sharp edge of a blade without being cut. But here's the thing.
This unbelievable ability isn't just born from brute force and endless repetition. The manual reveals that there are other critical parts to the puzzle. You need a clear purpose, a secret medicinal formula, and maybe most importantly, an unconquerable mind.
First up, the why. The manual really emphasizes that Iron Shirt is a defensive skill. It's not for showing off or being aggressive. Its sole purpose is to protect you in a real fight, to let you absorb blows that would knock someone else out so that you can then effectively counter. It's about turning your body into armor, not a weapon.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. The manual makes a critical point. It basically says, look, you can do all the physical punishment in the world, but on its own, it's not going to be enough. There's a hidden element that has to work together with all that conditioning.
And what is that hidden element? A secret herbal liniment. This is an authentic recipe right out of the Shaolin text, and it was designed to be rubbed on the body after every single training session. It's meant to heal bruises, strengthen the bones, and condition the skin. It just goes to show you, this ancient wisdom totally understood that recovery and medicine were every bit as important as the training itself. But, beyond the physical conditioning, beyond the secret medicine, the manual comes back to one thing over and over again as the most important ingredient of all: your mind. It says it flat out. Without a determined heart, without that unwavering persistence through all the pain and exhaustion, you will see zero results.
And finally, just in case you thought this was something you could pick up in a weekend workshop, the masters leave us with a pretty sobering dose of reality. They warn that Iron Shirt's skill is not ordinary. To truly master this, to forge your body into something like steel, it takes a minimum of 20 years of dedicated daily practice.
So when you look at this entire incredible process, it kind of forces you to ask a much bigger question. I mean, forget about martial arts for just a second. What does this level of focused, decades-long dedication tell us about the true limits, or maybe the lack of limits, of the human body and the human will? It's definitely something to think about.